Hey, Bryce Tubbs here. I just want to come and answer the question where to start your bookkeeping business. Now, I got asked this question. Probably about 3 days ago, and the person who asked was saying that there are so many things that you need to do when you're starting out, and it's really overwhelming her. Right? It's making the website, it's the LLC, it's the insurance, it's going in a business license, it's making the business card, it's getting the brochures, it's all the different things that are there that most people tell you need to do in order to start the business, but it ends up causing a lot of confusion and makes it really hard for the average person to start. Now today I just want to simplify the process of exactly where to start, what you need to do, what to focus on, and what are those main things. Now before we go into that, if you want some help growing your business and you want to sacrifice less, get your result faster, and really avoid a lot of the mistakes that most people make, I just recommend you go ahead and click on the link inside the description below to apply to book a call with me to see if I can help you out inside the private mentorship program. If it's a good fit, I'll let you know. If it's not a good fit, I'll let you know that as well, and we'll make sure you have a game plan of what to do. Now, jumping into this thing, okay? The main reason why you need to avoid a lot of those things that most people do is because you need to focus on RGA. That's revenue generating activities. Okay? Most people, what happens, and especially for me, I got started about 7 years in my accounting and bookkeeping business, but I spent probably like 3 months making a website. I spent 2 months making a brochure, right? It took me about 3 weeks to go and get the LLC because I didn't know how to do it at the beginning. So I first had to research how to go do the LLC. Then the process for the LLC in my state took me about two weeks for them to get back, right? Then we had to get insurance. It was just all this a mess, right? And that was like about 6 months that it took. And when I looked back, the website was terrible. The brochures, we need to do it 2 or 3 more times. We had to go. It was just a mess. And I look up and I'm like, we're not making any money. We have no clients. What's going on? And for most people, they realize that too late, right? And by the end of that, especially if maybe you've been trying to grow the business or it's a really high priority, you lose a lot of the enthusiasm that you had for starting the business, and it causes you to actually halt, slow your progress down, and not really make it to the level that you want. So instead, you need to be thinking about who can send someone to you. Right? So that means meeting somebody new who already has old contacts, okay? So I almost want you to think about you're like a lion hunting gazelle. So whenever you see gazelle inside of the wild, right, the first thing that you're gonna see is the lion's sitting on this cliff, right? And he's looking down and he's just looking, just stalking, right? And it's just they're looking for patterns, looking for people, right? Because oftentimes there's this herd. Now inside of the herd, if you go inside of the herd, you're gonna get trampled, right? There's just too many legs, too many ones that are attacking. They all know these defense mechanisms inside a group. They practice their group defensive maneuvers, right? They don't let in outsiders. They just don't let in outsiders, right? But then the lion has to wait and wait and wait. And then one time, the herd starts moving, but then maybe 1 or 2, they call them stragglers. People just don't really get the memo that they're all moving. Or they're independent thinkers and they want to think for themselves and they're going to wait just to kind of see what the move looks like, right? Lion notices that. Okay, 1, 2. That's a lot safer. Let me go and attack one of them, right? I'm going to look for who's the slowest because I've been analyzing them all day. And then from there, they're able to go and get their meal. And then from there, they live. In our particular case, what that means is if, let's say for example, you just moved to a new location and you know nobody, or you live in a really small town, it's very isolated, and the people that are there are very cliquey. Excuse me. And when I say cliquey, it's more of they're just not receptive to people who didn't grow up with them, right? For example, let's say maybe they all went to the same high school, they all went to the same college, they're all part of the same alumni association, they all go to the same networking, their kids are growing up, their kids are going to the same schools, right? And it's when you come in, they're oh, I don't know you, I don't want to talk to you, sorry, I don't know you, I only do business with people I know. Okay, so how do you break into that? So a good example is actually one of my students named Mely. She's done this 2 times since we started working together. The first time was with what's called a Mary Kay director. So there was the group of Mary Kay consultants, right? And that's kind of this skincare company that they do a lot of network marketing. So they get friends and they all sell their stuff, right? Now, what that person did was the person was actually coming and it was just some random person knocked on their door and said, hey, do you want to buy some of these products? I noticed you've shopped at this store before, and my database says that you might be a good candidate for our product." She said, "Oh, I don't really like that. I've tried it in the past. It broke up my skin." Long story short, they start talking, right? And then Billy goes, "Hey, I'm actually, a bookkeeper. That's kind of what I do. I know you have a really great business. This is kind of what my business is." And the lady's like, "Oh." It just turned out that one of the Mary Kay associations had a falling out with their accounting firm, right? Can't go into too much details about it, but yeah, they just had a falling out, right? So there's an opening for them, and whoever was actually going to do it could either take over a lot of people inside that local organization, or they could go after stragglers. Now, in most cases, I always tell my students, do not go after solopreneurs unless that solopreneur has a high volume of transactions or a lot of budget, right? Because it can be really hard to get those kind of people to want to pay you because they're used to holding on to their money, right? But in this case, it was a little bit different because that Mary Kay director actually had about 100 people in her, downline organization. That just means the people who are underneath her inside of the the Mary Kay kind of organization. So what basically happened there was Millie told me about the situation. She said, "Hey, how should I approach this? The director said that she wants my help." I said, "Okay, cool." So we sat there on a coaching call. It took me between 7 to 10 minutes to write up a letter. It's basically just the script that how you can actually talk about it and get the people to want to work with you, right? So then what we did was, she was like, "Whoa, bro, you made that really quickly." I was like, "Yeah, that's one of my skill sets, is being able to write stuff out that gets people to want to buy," right? So then I had her send it to the director of the Mary Kay, right? So the person who's the director of the Mary Kay could send it to all of the people below her, right? Because if Millie was to send it, the people would be like, "Oh, I don't know who you are." But if the director sent it, then it made it really easy for them to trust Millie, right? And then when they came to her, it was very easy because then she got the director to sign up with her. Then from there, she started getting more and more and more and more and more. And now her main mission is, how can I get the full 100 people underneath her to sign up with me? Now, in some cases, if you're getting people who are really small transactions, like a Mary Kay consultant, when you're first getting started, it's generally gonna be really small, right? So if you only got one and you only got $100 a month, it's not really that significant. When you get 70 to 100, paying $100 a month, that's where it's okay, this is some good money, $7,000, $10,000 a month. And that's why we kind of approached that situation, because it was a very, very, very unique situation, very time-based, that you had to be there, you had to know exactly who to talk to. And that's why it's so important to be able to tap into that network and know who can send clients to you, okay? Now, hopefully, if you enjoyed this video so far, and you just kind of get an understanding, because if you've noticed, we have not mentioned a website, we have not mentioned LLC, we have not mentioned insurance. Number reason why, generally for LLC, right, it's about protecting yourself from liability. Generally for insurance, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that if you have E&O insurance, just in case there's an error that you make that really harms the business, right, you want to protect yourself. But if you have no clients, who's going to sue you? That's why it's you have to get that revenue first, because until you're making at least $600 a year, you're considered a hobby. You're not really in business yet. You have to go make money first, because now you're in business. Now you have something that actually is substantial, and now you have something that can start generating cash for you. But until you start generating that cash, all these different support functions don't really make sense, because there's not really anyone who's going to go. Now, you might talk to an insurance person, or you might talk to a web design person, they're going to tell you it's the first thing you got to have. But, from my experience and working with over 150 people inside the mentorship program, you don't need that at first. You need that eventually, but when you're first getting started, you generally just need to move fast. You need to go and get some clients, and then from there, you can start becoming more official. Now, hopefully this video has been really helpful for you. Now, as always, I always invite you to go ahead and click on the link inside the description and book a call with me, because you have two options. Number one, you can go and you can take this information, you can try it on your own, but there's just so many different things that I can't address inside of a video, like how to talk to the person when you first get started, how to set the agenda on the sales call, how to make sure the person has a budget, how to make sure the person has a budget but is willing to spend that budget, how to make sure that you're talking and hitting all their pain points, how to make sure you can close on the objections, what happens if they say, "Hey, I need to go talk to my spouse," what happens if they say they need to go talk to their dog, what happens if this, all these different things, but I can't address it because everything is situation by situation. So option one is you go and try on your own, you do a lot of trial and error, maybe you figure it out, maybe you don't, and you end up quitting the business. Option number two, okay, this is how you go with less sacrifice, ease, and speed. Okay, that's partnering with me inside the paid mentorship program, making sure you know exactly what you need to do from our proven process so you actually grow a lot faster. You know, I want you to be on our wall of testimony. We have an internal wall of testimonial over, I think it's over about 70 different video testimonials at this point from students that are happy with the program. They're super excited, who have all made it to, you know, some sort of income goal. Generally it's above the $5,000, $10,000 when we do the recaps. So I want that to be for you, okay? I want to make sure that you can succeed. I want to make sure you can go. Now, I am financially motivated to make sure you succeed, but nevertheless, we want to make sure that you do, right? Because if you pay money to me, I want to make sure that my name's on it. We got to protect our reputation. So if you want some help, go ahead and click on the link inside the description below to apply to see if I can help you out. Now, some people might be a little bit afraid of the investment amount, right? They might say, Bryce, I don't really have a lot of money. Now, we do have third-party funding. So about 6 months ago, I partnered with a funding company. And inside of that, they allow us to be able to make the program more accessible to people who might not have the cash flow up front to pay for it, right? Because if you're starting a business, sometimes you don't have a lot of cash. Now, I always invite people to use their personal money to fund the business, but for some people, they just don't really have it, right? So generally what this funding does is we can give up to about 2 to 5 year terms, right? Anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, all the way up to five years, depending on what your situation is, to make sure that you can grow. Now, depending on what type of loan you have, there's different you know, things you need to do to qualify. It's not for everybody, okay? So if you want some help, you want to be able to grow your business. Now, we've taken out the investment amount. Like, it's easy, anyone can do it. It's more about, are you ready to go and reach your goal? If you are, click the link, book a call. If you're not quite ready, I'll see you inside the next video. There's no harm, no foul. And I will talk to you soon, and I'll see you either in the next video or I'll see you on the call. Have a great rest of your day.